Welcome to either our YouTube channel or our Spotify channel. This episode exists to break down this last week's sermon in a more palatable and in a quicker format to give you the core elements and the key takeaways from what we talked about this last Wednesday night. So this last Wednesday night, we discussed a topic called God's heart. What is God's heart? How do we know what God's heart is? And we broke it down into three main words. These are three words that start with W. Every single one starts with W. This is not the biblical technical definition of God's heart, but it's an easy way to understand what his heart is for you and what his heart is for humanity. So the first W that we discussed was the Word. God's heart is summed up in the Word. If you read through John chapter 1, you see this very plainly. The Word is Jesus. It says from the very beginning, God was with the Word. Not only this, it says God is the Word. God was the Word. And then the Word came and made its dwelling among us. It became flesh. And so we understand the Word to be Jesus. So the very definition of God's heart is Jesus. What about Jesus? Well, Jesus was the ultimate sacrifice for your sin and for my sin. You see, there's nothing that we could ever do to earn our way to heaven. It's because we are sinful to our core. We are sinful by nature. And the reality is, this sin separates us from a holy, powerful, just, and yet merciful God. And so to atone for this sin and to bridge humanity back to God, Jesus came and died as a sacrifice and then rose again 3 days later, defeating death so that we can have hope in a future victory over death through Jesus. This is great, but our second W is why. The why behind God's heart. Why would he do such a thing? And the why is love. Instead of John, go to 1 John chapter 4, read verses 7 through 17. It's an amazing breakdown of God's heart, and it defines why he does what he does, and it's out of love. And this is something we don't fully comprehend and we can't fully understand because we get dying for a noble cause, for a good thing, a great person. But when it comes to dying for somebody's sin, we have a problem with that. When it comes to dying for someone who's a terrible person and somebody who's done terrible things and specifically dying for those things, we can't fully comprehend that. Who would do that? Especially somebody that doesn't even seem thankful that you're going to lay down your life for them. I mean, nobody would sign up to die for a person like that or to die for those things related to that person. And yet this is what we see in Jesus.